victim A's skull and around victim B's body? I'm not saying that they're the
It's
Aguila.
consistent with, we have 4 rounds recovered, 1 from the head of victim A, 3 around the body of victim B. At this point, those have been submitted for testing. I can't tell you that those are certainly the Engia 357 mag rounds.
Are they consistent?
I would say they're consistent, sure.
Thank you. Also, when the defendant was taken into custody on February 28, 2025, was he in possession of a wallet containing banking and financial cards associated with victim A and victim B?
No object to speculation.
Hearsay is allowable.
But
He didn't take him into custody, and the question was phrased as when he was taken into custody.
wish to rephrase, counsel?
Sure, that's fine. So when the defendant was taken into custody, he was taken into custody by the Waukesha Police Department?
Yes.
Did the Waukesha Police Department prepare reports indicating that they searched the defendant?
Yes.
Did they prepare reports indicating that they had searched the vehicle the defendant was driving?
Yes.
And based upon those reports, when the defendant was taken into custody, did he have possession of a wallet containing banking and financial cards associated with victim A and victim B?
Yes.
And specifically, was there a debit card from BMO Bank?
Yes.
And do you know what the last 4 numbers of that card were?
5341 possibly. Or 4231. There's 2 that are very similar.
Okay. So if the complaint said the BMO Bank had the last 4 numbers of 2431 and belonged to victim A, would that be correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And was there also a Citibank credit card with the last 4 numbers of 5341 that also was associated with victim A's account?
Yes.
And in your investigation, were you able to determine if those cards were used by the defendant?
Yes.
And can you describe for the court how you determined that?
The BMO Bank records were used primarily, the BMO Bank card was used primarily between February 24th and 28th at various gas stations from Iowa all the way through to Wyoming. Surveillance footage was obtained from several of those transactions, which show the defendant using the card. And similar for the Citibank card. That one was used primarily between the 12th and I think 28th. And again, consistent with the defendant using it. There was one specific transaction on the 24th where he used it at the Quick Trip just prior to leaving the state.
Okay. And first of all, when you said the 12th to the 28th, would that be February 12th, 2025 to February 28th, 2025?
Yes.
And the Quick Trip, that video you obtained video showing the defendant using that specific Citibank credit card that was from a Quick Trip in the village of Big Bend?
Yes.
And that's in Waukesha County, Wisconsin?
Yes.
Now, with regard to the document received from the medical examiner's office, the death certification summary, did Dr. Bidzricki have an estimated date of death?
Yes, February 11th, 2025.
And that was for both victim A and victim B?
Yes.
Did you go back with regard to the whereabouts or the locations of victim A and victim B going back from February 28th when their bodies were located?
Yes.
And when were you able to talk to, or was someone able to talk to victim A's manager at his place of employment?
Yes.
And was he, or is it a he?
Yes, it is.
Was he able to determine when the last time he actually knew he was talking with victim A, either through verbal communication where he heard him talking, or he physically saw him?
He believed the last time he was confident he talked to victim A was February 11th.
Were you able to locate definitive proof that either victim A or victim B was alive after February 11th, 2025?
I have not been able to find any evidence of that.
And did you locate, when's the last known observation that anyone had of victim A?
The last observation of victim A would have been roughly 5:30 p.m. on February 11th, 2025, after leaving Woodman's in the city of Waukesha.
And how about with regard to victim B?
Victim B would have been the same date, February 11th, 2025, at roughly 8:30 p.m., leaving the Pick and Save on Sunset Drive in the city of Waukesha.
And did you observe that video from the Pick and Save on Sunset Drive?
I did.
And the clothing that victim B was wearing in that video, did it match the clothing that victim B was wearing when she was found deceased?
Yes.
Which Pick and Save? There's two on
It's on Sunset Drive, the one nearest, like the Target, Fox, right off of Oakdale.
Okay, thank you. There's two
To the
on
Metro
Sunset.
Markets?
There's two Pick and Save.
It's a Pick and Save, but
The west one, you could say, really.
yes, yeah.
Thank you. Go on, Steve.
Thank you. Now, in speaking with, did Detective Moonen, Moonen, speak with people, employees of the Waukesha West High School?
Yes.
Was there any communication that employees, teachers, or administration had with the defendant after February 11th, 2025, when he was last seen at school?
Yes.
And when was that?
I believe it was February 20th. I could be wrong. There were some emails sent from, I believe, concerned teachers trying to figure out why the defendant hadn't been in school for some time.
And did it, sorry.
I just don't recall if it was the 20th. It was sometime after the 11th, certainly, though.
And was there any information that teachers were able to provide that the defendant turned in an assignment on February 12th, 2025?
Yes, there was an assignment he submitted electronically on the 12th.
Okay. Now, March 7th, 2025, did Detective Frederick speak with an individual who was identified as Witness A?
Yes,
And what was Witness A's relationship to the defendant?
fellow student at Waukesha West.
And did Witness A have any information with regard to statements the defendant had made that were concerning to her?
Yes.
And what were those statements?
Witness A indicated that the defendant at times had talked about killing himself or harming himself, and had mentioned that first he would kill his parents by possibly shooting them because he didn't want to subject them to his own death.
Did he ever indicate to her if he was serious about doing this? Did he mention it more than once?
From what I recall, he did mention it more than once, but also would indicate that he didn't have access to claimed he didn't have access to a firearm, and that he was not being serious.
And in speaking with Witness A, did she indicate whether or not he had ever threatened her?
Witness A stated that that during some of these conversations, the defendant told her that if she ever told anyone about this, that he would. It was a vague threat of you'd regret this or something similar to that. There was nothing specific.
Did she take it as a threat?
I believe so.
And in going through the phone, did you, in going through the defendant's phone, did you locate any pictures that were relevant to this investigation with regard to a Smith & Wesson firearm or Anguilla ammunition?
Yes, on an older phone that we don't believe was actively being utilized, yes.
And what about, what information did you locate?
I think it was an iPhone XR that appeared to have been a previous phone utilized by the defendant. And when searching through the images or the cache history, there was an image with a date of January 28th that showed the defendant holding a Smith & Wesson Model 686 while standing inside of a closet. And then also an image from February 9th of two different images of one round of that Anguilla 357 mag ammunition.
And when's the last time that you can associate the Volkswagen Atlas being at the residence at and Cider Hills Drive?
Definitively would probably be February 23rd in the afternoon. I believe.
And how were you able to determine that?
The neighbor their next door neighbor had a Ring doorbell camera that captured the vehicle. Also, the next door neighbor specifically recalled seeing that VW Atlas driven by the defendant on the 23rd. I believe that was roughly around noon.
Did the defendant have a valid driver's license at any time?
No.
Based upon the information provided by Dr. Bidzricki that the date of death was estimated to be February 11th, 2025, did the defendant have consent to use victim A's BMO bank card ending in the number 2431 between February 24th, 2025 and February 28th, 2025?
I'm going to object to speculation.
I'll overrule it. I see where the question's going. I understand it. I don't think it's speculative, so overruled. Go ahead, counsel.
I would say no.
And how about, did the defendant have consent to use the Citibank credit card that was in victim B's name but was associated with victim A's account ending in 5341 between February 12th, 2025 and February 28th, 2025?
Again, I would say no.
Do you believe, based upon your investigation and the date of death of victim A and victim B being February 11th, 2025, that the defendant had consent to operate victim A's Volkswagen Atlas
No.
between February 12th, 2025 and February 28th, 2025?
No.
Did the defendant have consent to possess or remove from the residence victim A's Smith & Wesson .357 firearm from the residence on or about February 23rd, 2025?
No.
Did the defendant have consent to remove jewelry purchased by victim A from victim A's residence on or about February 23rd, 2025?
I don't believe so, no.
And how about the $14,000 in cash?
I would say no.
And again, based upon the observations you made of both victim A and victim B's body, were there attempts taken to hide those bodies?
Yes.
And were there further attempts made, do you know if there were further attempts made by the defendant to make it appear as if at least victim A was alive after February 11th, 2025?
Yes. Sorry, yes.
Thank you. Was there any video footage obtained from the residence?
Yes.
And specifically, was there any video, a camera outside the residence above the garage?
Yes, a Simply Safe camera, yep.
And I think I asked you this before, but were either victim A or victim B observed leaving the residence anytime after February 11, 2025?
No, the last time we have ever seen victim A was leaving Woodman's at 5:30 on the 11th of February 11, 25, and the victim B was leaving Pick and Save on February 11th, 2025 at 8:30 p.m.
Was there anyone else other than the defendant that was observed going to that residence between even February 10th, 2025 and February 28th, 2025?
What was the second date? You said February 10th and when?
February 28th, 2025.
There
Other
was
than law enforcement.
There was a guy from Bryce's Lawn Care that came to the residence and met with, we believe to be victim A. There might have been a mail delivery here or there, but no, I didn't recognize or identify anyone else that came to the residence.
Nothing further.
Cross.
The Simply Safe camera that was above the garage, you indicated that was running and functional, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And you stated here today that the last time victim A was seen was leaving Woodman's on February 11th?
You said victim A, February 11th at 5:30 PM, yes.
Okay. And victim E, the last time that that individual was seen was leaving that pick and save at 8:30 that night?
Yes, ma'am.
There was no video footage of them returning home?
On the Simply Safe camera?
Correct.
No, there's no footage of it.
Is the Simply Safe camera something that runs continuously, or is it motion
I
activated?
think it's motion detected.
And it's above the garage?
There was one above the garage, one at the front door, one at the side yard, and one at the backyard.
Okay, and you indicated that when you, or law enforcement reviewed that footage, you were able to see a vehicle leave the residence at some point?
When?
Between February 11th and February 28th?
I'm sorry, can you be more specific? On which camera?
You had testified
Yes.
that in looking at the Simply Safe camera footage, that you had seen the defendant leave the residence.
Yes, during that time, during the 11th through the 23rd.
Okay, so the camera footage picked up who you believe the defendant to be leaving the residence, but it didn't pick up victim A or victim B returning to the residence?
I'm sorry, what specific time are you talking? Like, so on February 11th through the 23rd, I regularly see the defendant out in the yard, moving the garbage can, shoveling snow. On February 11th, are you asking me?
You testified that the last time victim A and victim B were seen was leaving different grocery stores on February 11th. I'm
Yes.
trying to determine if the cameras on the home picked up their return to the home on February 11th.
No, it didn't.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
That's fine. There were a number of questions about consent with respect to bank cards, vehicles, firearms, jewelry, cash. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes,
Okay. And is it fair to say that you yourself and your fellow law enforcement officers have not been involved with this family prior to this investigation?
that's correct.
Okay. You don't know the family's arrangement in terms of utilizing funds?
I have no idea.
Okay. You don't know if they had an arrangement about utilizing the vehicle?
There is some information that we know that Nikita did not have a driver's license, and there have been conversations in the past about him potentially earning the right to obtain his driver's license. But I don't know. That was, I believe, a little bit beforehand, sometime before this incident.
Okay, you said there was conversations about him earning the right to obtain his driver's license?
There was, I believe, from talking to family, they had mentioned that they did not believe he yet had a driver's license, although he was 17, and thought that was a point of contention possibly at the family, and that he wanted to drive, but the family was not yet willing to allow him to get his license.
And this information that you're referring to is coming from victim A's family?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how involved victim A's family was with the defendant?
Objection is to relevance for this hearing.
What is relevant?
He's just testified that he's obtaining information from these individuals about the relationship, potentially consent and things like that. They talked about consent and whether it was there.
I'll overrule the objection, but it'll only go so far, counsel. This is a preliminary hearing. This isn't a trial, so go ahead.
Understood?
Our victim A's family primarily spoke with victim A and received information on family dynamics, typically from victim B.
The only other question I'll ask about it is it correct that victim A's family does not reside in the state of Wisconsin?
They do not.
Okay, thank you. In terms of the statements that were made by witness A, those were made when law enforcement was speaking to individuals from Waukesha West, is that correct?
I don't understand your question. When they were speaking to individuals from Waukesha West?
Correct. You testified that during the investigation, Detective Moonen spoke to individuals that were at Waukesha
Detective
West.
Fredericks, I believe, interviewed victim A, or witness A, I'm sorry.
Okay, so Detective Moonen spoke with employees at Waukesha West.
Primarily like the school resource officer and staff
And Detective Frederick spoke to witness A?
interviewed witness A, yes.
Okay, and those happened on different dates?
I believe so.
Do you know if witness A came to Detective Fredericks or if Detective Fredericks went to witness A?
Objection as to relevance for this hearing. Again, this isn't a discovery proceeding.
Sustained.
The statements that were made that were concerning to witness A involved self-harm and potentially killing himself, is that right?
There were statements to that effect, yes.
And those were generally followed up with, I don't have access to a gun, I'm not serious about this, it's a joke?
Yes.
Okay. And the phone that you found, that you referred to as an iPhone XR, you said you believe that it was used by the defendant?
I believe it was his primary phone from roughly 2019 to maybe January of 25, yes.
And you said on that there were two images that drew your attention.
Yes.
One was from January 28th of 25?
I can't tell you exactly when the image was taken. I just recall that I noted that the date associated with that image in that phone download showed January 28th. I don't know if that means that device actually took that picture or if that image was transferred from another device to that phone on that date.
Okay.
I can't tell you that.
And the other one was somehow associated with February 9th, and that was with one round of ammunition?
There's two images of both depicting that one round, yes.
Okay. The iPhone XR is not the phone that you were tracing to try and locate
No.
Mr. Kassab? Okay. What phone was that?
Objection as to relevance for this hearing.
Well, I'll overrule it. I mean, I think the question is, was it the phone recovered?
The phone you're referring to?
So you testified that the iPhone XR you believe to be Nikita's primary phone from 2019 to January 25, correct?
I believe so, yes.
That's not the phone that law enforcement was tracing to try and locate him on February 28th?
That was not the one that was currently assigned his phone number that he was actively using, no.
Okay, so there was a new phone that was assigned?
There's multiple phones recovered during this investigation, but the phone that you're referring to that emergency pings were submitted on was not the iPhone XR, no.
Okay. You indicated that you believe the bodies were covered to try and avoid detection, is that correct?
I believe they were covered, yes.
You testified that you believe it was to avoid detection of those bodies, right?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. Were there also candles lit in the residence near the bodies?
Only evidence of that was near victim A.
Okay. Did you observe, or did any other law enforcement officers observe any other attempts to mask the smell?
Not that I recall.
No cleaners that were out or chemicals or anything like that near the bodies?
Not that I recall, as I said here, no.
The state of the home, you said that it was, things were all strewn about the floor, that drawers were open and emptied, right?
Yep.
And I don't remember if you testified as to why you believe it was like that.
I did not.
Okay. Why, in the complaint, it states that law enforcement believed the home was in that state because there was a search for money. Would you agree with that statement?
I think that's certainly a possibility, yes.
And it's true that within the home, there was additional cash that was found, right?
I recall there was, I believe, 500 found at one point. I can't remember where it was. Maybe in a BMO envelope, I believe, yeah.
And that was in an iPad case in the office?
That sounds right.
Did there appear to be anything else missing from the home that was noticeable?
There was empty jewelry boxes in the basement. Again, we had the receipt for that Smith & Wesson Model 686, but we couldn't find the gun or any type of like safe that it would have held. There was empty BMO cash envelopes on the kitchen counter that were empty. We did not find cell phones that we would have associated with the two decedents. Yeah, there was a number of things that we believed were missing, yes. The vehicle.
Do you recall the date of the receipt for the purchase of the firearm?
I know that it was from Select Weaponry, and I believe it was 2021 or 2022, but I don't recall the exact date, no.
You stated that officers' observation of the video of Nikita at a truck stop in Iowa, he did not appear under duress, is that correct?
Yes,
And you said in part that was because he was walking the family dog?
yes.
Did you review any of the information that was found on the cell phones that were recovered with Nikita?
I have reviewed some of the information, yes.
Do you recall messages that were being conveyed about a plot that could have influenced Nikita?
Objection as to relevance for this hearing.
I'll sustain that objection. Move on, counsel.
I might have missed this, and I apologize if I did. You stated that there were 4 shell casings that were recovered?
There were 4 shell casings recovered in the VW Atlas. That was also located with the other .357 Agia rounds.
And there were 3 bullets that were recovered in the home?
3 in the home and 1 from victim A.
Okay. How many gunshot wounds did victim B have?
Victim B had 4 entrance and exit wounds. However, during my discussions with Dr. B, she was not confident that the injury to the wrist was an independent event and could have been as a result of one of the injuries to the neck, abdomen, or upper chest. And I'm sorry, Dr. B is Dr. Bidzricki.
Thank you.
The cash that was located in the vehicle, do you recall where in the vehicle those things were located?
There was an amount of $6,000, an amount of $8,000. One was found in a Bible, and one was found, I thought, in a iPad case or laptop case or something similar to that. I'm sorry, it was a memory. It was a photo memory book was one of them, and a Bible.
Do you know where the Bible and the photo book were located within the vehicle?
I don't recall at this point.
I just about my hearing, but it sounded like the Bible was actually, the money in the Bible was actually found when it got back here.
The money that was located in the Bible and the photo album, was that located when officers in Kansas were searching the vehicle, or was that after it came back
I
to
believe it
Waukesha?
was March 4th when they executed the search warrant here at our Fleet Services building.
So fair to say it wasn't in plain sight when they stopped the vehicle?
I don't know. I don't believe so.
Okay. Did you review the report of the Kansas law enforcement agency?
Yes.
And you don't recall if in that report they indicated that they collected the Bible or saw cash strewn about?
I don't remember, sorry.
Something else. That's the other thing I was wondering about.
No further questions.
Redirect?
Briefly, you indicated that there are no cell phones associated with either victim A or victim B found in the residence. Is that correct?
I believe that iPhone XR was found at the residence. I don't believe we ever found the phones that we would have assumed to found next to the victim A or victim B. We did not locate.
Were any phones associated with victim A or victim B located in the vehicle the defendant was driving?
Yes.
More than one?
Yes.
Thank you. And the Simply Safe camera, is that connected through Wi-Fi?
Yes.
And therefore, if someone disconnects the Wi-Fi, would it not show any video?
That's true.
Okay, nothing further.
A, recross based on those questions.
No.
All right, may this witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much for your testimony. Any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. So you rest?
Yes.
Thank you. Defense?
No witnesses.
Thank you. The court will consider evidence closed. State your motion to the court.
Your Honor, the state moves for bind over based upon the testimony of Detective Seitz. The state does believe that there is probable cause to believe that this defendant committed a felony, and specifically all 9 felonies that have been charged against him at this time.
Thank you. For the defendant?
We would object to bind over and move for dismissal.
Thank you. Well, the matter comes before the court on a preliminary hearing. Court's heard testimony. We had identification of the defendant. We have jurisdiction on this matter. There was testimony about where the police department was dispatched to, the address here in Waukesha County. Court notes that as the testimony went on, every single count was addressed. First of all, we have reports from the coroner, cause of death, gunshot wound, homicide being the cause of death for both victims. The bodies were hidden. There was a hiding a corpse allegation, counts 3 and 4. I heard a fair amount of testimony on that. Those counts are shown as well. There's a probable cause to believe that this defendant committed counts 1 and 2, committed counts 3 and 4. The other issue that was brought up during the course of testimony was the issue about lack of consent to counts 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, as far as the amount of theft, 10,000 to 100,000, there is evidence in this record just by the jewelry that's 14,000. The source of the cash, that's another matter, but it's well beyond $10,000. There's a lack of consent by virtue of the fact that the owners of this property died there's a lot of testimony on, I think, February 11th from a coroner, from reports from a neighbor, everything tells me that the people who have consented to any of these things were not with us in this world anymore. They were passed on, so no consent was given. We have an additional testimony about the fact this defendant didn't even have a driver's license, knowing the family wanted him to be driving at the time. In fact, that's more detail than I would typically get at a preliminary hearing. And yes, counts 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no consent here. So as to all counts, the court will find the following. There's probable cause to believe that this defendant committed all of these counts, all these felonies. So I'll order him bound over for trial before the trial court, the Honorable Judge Ralph Ramirez. The court makes that finding on today's date based on the testimony before it. State, have you filed an information provided to the defense?
We have not, based upon the information provided here in court, and we believe the continued download of electronics, we believe, well, I know additional charges will be issued.
All right, so you're asking for an arraignment date
Yeah.
before the judge?
As close to 30 days as possible.
All right, that being said, defense, any comment before we obtain that date?
No.
All right, Madam Clerk, a date for arraignment within the statutory deadlines.
April 30th, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11.
I'm in trial that entire week. Would you have anything May 5th at 1 o'clock, or this needs to be for branch 3? May 5th, I am in front of Judge Ramirez at 9:15.
I do not have May 5th, otherwise May 7th. Can do 9:30, 10, or 10:30.
I'm in other branches at those times. Is anything available on May 8th in the morning?
I do not have May 8th.
Is counsel available May 2nd? And is court available May 2nd?
Yeah. That wouldn't work. Sorry. I'm booked and Ms. Ostrowski is in training in St. Paul. Your trial going on the 6th and 7th. the 7th. Is anything available on the 7th?
That was the day you couldn't.
That was the date that I couldn't make, but you could.
Could we do 10:30 on May 7th?
State, is that available?
I know my trial is actually in Judge Ramirez's court, so possibly we could squeeze it in on April 7th. I'll be there anyhow.
Would Judge Ramirez be amenable to doing that? I mean, just
No,
pausing
we've
proceedings?
done that before, where we've done it at 1:15 before the court starts, or 1 o'clock. I'm available, I'll be in that court all day, so.
I mean, we could also do 1 or 1:15. That would work better, I think, for us.
Oh, I'm sorry, actually, April 7th is just the further jury status hearing, so he would have some availability on that day.
May 7th.
May 7th, oh,
I just want to
gosh.
make sure you're looking at the right one.
Yes, thank you.
You're looking for May 7th at 1:15?
Yes.
Defense, can you do that?
Yes.
All right, so May 7th, 1:15 for arraignment before the Honorable Ralph Ramirez. And before we conclude today's proceedings, do the victims want to be heard in any way?
We will check with them, and I would just ask the victim witness specialist, Ms. Peterson, who's on Zoom, if she can verify and let the court know.
And to be fair, family of the victim, I should be more specific.
Yes.
Go ahead, anyone? Carrie Peterson, what do you want to tell us? Does anyone want to be heard today?
No, I do not believe so.
Thank you.
All right, that'll conclude the hearing. I wish everyone well. Have a good day, take care.
Thank you.